All right, so in this video, I want to go over averages, average ifs, weighted average, how to do something like weighted average ifs, something like that. Pretty much, I did a video here where I did the average and I got some comments that the average isn't right. Depends on what average you mean, but let's go over what are the possibilities here, right? So the first thing is, let's just do a basic average. So for example, I'm going to go to this transactions. We have these prices. If you simply wanted to get the average of these numbers, then you could just say equals average and highlight or refer to that range of numbers, and you should be getting your average. So that's pretty much as simple as it is to get an average. Now, if I wanted to get the average for the first couple of numbers, then I could just do this, then it's going to give me the average of those two. Now, what could happen is that we might want to calculate not a basic average between these numbers, but we might want to calculate weighted average because of quantities we have. So you might want to say that, well, since we're purchasing more of these and less of these, there should be more weight given to this because there are more of those, right? And basically the way you would do that, if we have 6 of this and 5 of these, then we could just basically do 6 of the first number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I could do 5 of the second number. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we could just do the average of that. And this is what would be the weighted average. Now, another way to get to this particular number is to do something like this. We could just take the sum of this number times this plus this number times this. And that should give us the total for all of those, in this case, shares, but it really doesn't matter. And then we could simply divide this by this total, which is currently 11. So we could do that by taking this, for example, in parentheses, and then divide it by, and again, I'll use parentheses and do this plus this. And that should get us to the same number. Now, these are not formatted the same. So if I just add more decimal points to this, you should be able to see that it's the same number if we add same number of decimal points. So this is basically weighted average. Another way you would see people do this who are Excel users, they would have this sum product function here, where you could simply take these two and do this two as an array, which basically does that like this times this plus this times this. And then we could divide it by the sum or sum product of these two, which again is going to get us to the same number. Now, if you're in Google Sheets, there's actually a function for this that's weighted average. So average dot, see, this is the function. And what you do, you just basically highlight this first column of numbers, comma, the second column of numbers here, close parentheses, and hit enter. And there it is. So that's Google Sheets function that handles weighted average. So sometimes, instead of getting the average, which is where you just highlight the whole column like this, you might want to have some sort of condition for this. So for example, we might want to get the average for just a certain ticker from this list. So for example, let's say we just want to consider this Google tickers. So this, and this. So the way we could do that is by using average ifs. And then we take the range of numbers, comma. Then we take the criteria range, which is this, and we check if that equals to whatever the criteria is, which in this case is going to be that text for that ticker, and I'm going to put that in quotes because that's text in the formula, and that should give us the average of those numbers. And by the way, this should not be equals. This should be a comma, and this should be the criteria. So here we go. So I got this number. So the way I could get to that same number, if I just show you this separately, if I just do a basic average function and only select this, comma, this, comma, this, that should get me the same total. And as you can see, that's the same average. So that's our average ifs. And the reason it's called average ifs is that you can do multiple criteria here. So for example, let's say we only want to consider the ones where this column has positive numbers for shares. So what we can do a comma and then select this range of numbers and say as a criteria in quotes that should be greater than 0, like this. And now it will only consider this one, this 1700, and it will consider the second one, which is 1732. It will not consider this one because we have a negative share over here. So see 1716, and just to show you this, if I just do a regular average function here and then just highlight this and then this, I should be getting that same total. So that's our conditional average ifs. Works just fine. And that brings me to how can I now do conditional weighted average? And to do conditional weighted average, what I can do first, I can basically do, well, I could do with some products and do something like that, which is something you would see from Excel users. But instead, I'm going to do weighted average function combined with a filter function to show you how this can be done. So first, let me just start with the filter function to show you where I'm going with this. So for example, if I use filter function and do a range, so for now, let's say I'm just going to highlight this range, comma, and then I'm going to do condition. And as a condition, I'm going to check if this first column from this range equals to that ticker that I'm looking for in quotes. And notice how here I'm not doing comma, I'm doing equal to sign because we need a logical statement here. So now if I just close this and hit enter, you'll see that what I get from this, I get a new filtered list that just gets me anything that matches this. So what we could do, we could further filter this down by doing a comma and adding another condition. And in this second condition, I can check if this column is greater than 0. And if I hit enter, you'll see that we'll filter out that -2 line because of that second condition. So in this function, this range doesn't necessarily have to include the columns that you're filtering by. So instead of selecting this entire area, I could have, for example, selected these 2 columns only. And again, I'm getting the same sort of thing. I'm just not receiving the same first column in my results because I did not select it in the range. Now, you could really select any range here. I could just go here and select this column, and then it's just gonna give me filtered list from that column. Probably wasn't the best option here because all these numbers are the same here. Let's just change that. Something like this. So you can see I got 1 and 8. And what it is basically, I'm getting this first match line, that's the 1. And then we don't get this because it's a -2. And we get this one, which is at 8. I could go back and select, for example, the column of prices now, where I'm going to get the price. And then I'm going to copy this formula with equal sign and everything and paste it over here. And as a return column, instead of column B, I'm going to select column C to get the count of shares. And if you remember, if you do that function, which is our weighted average, that includes values and weights. So basically we need this, comma, this to get our weighted average. And now what I'm going to do instead of highlighting these ranges, I'm going to replace these ranges with my filter functions that are producing what I need. So I'm going to go back to this, copy this filter function with no equal sign, hit escape, go back to this and replace this first part out of here. And then I'm going to go back and grab this second filter function, hit escape, go back to this, select this range and replace it with a second filter function that gives me the quantities. And then I get the same number. So now I shouldn't need to have this. And I can have one formula that does the whole thing in it. And now I have conditional weighted average function. So you could call this like weighted average ifs. So now I'm going to take this same thing. I'm going to delete it out of here. And I'll just do it in that first portfolio spreadsheet. So if you didn't want the average here and you wanted to get weighted average, so basically what we mean by price paid here, we want to only have positive numbers for shares, and price sold would be the negative numbers. So what I would do, I would just go in here. I'm just going to get rid of what I have. And then in this cell, I'm going to do that weighted average. And I'm going to do my filter functions here. So the first filter function is going to have the first range. So I'm going to go to transactions. And this is the range I need, the range of prices. The condition I'm doing for this, I need to make sure that this ticker equals to Google or whatever that was. We'll find out in a second, comma. And the shares column is greater than 0. Close parentheses. So that should give us the first filter function that should return this B column of prices. I'm going to copy this, go after this, comma, and paste the same thing and close parentheses. And I'm going to replace this B column with C column for weights. So at this point, I'm going to hit enter. So that should give me Google. Apparently, this is Amazon. So if we go back and change this to AMZN and this one as well, that should get us weighted average for Amazon. And because I want to be able to drag this down, I'm going to replace this hard-coded text with the ticker reference here on the left. And the same thing here. Replace this with a cell reference on the left-hand side. So at this point, I just need to make sure all the ranges are absolute reference. So I'm going to highlight this F4, highlight this F4, and do the same for all of the ranges, but not for individual cells. So now I could take this and drag that formula down. And now we have our weighted averages for all of these tickers. And if I wanted to get that for the price sold, basically that means I want to consider the negative numbers in quantities only. That should be pretty similar. We may run into some issues there, but I'll show you what we can do with that. So I'm going to copy this, hit escape, go back, and replace this formula with that formula. Let's delete this. I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to change this where I check if it's greater than 0 to if it's less than 0. And I have this twice in here, so there's also this one. And you can see how I got an error here because it says weighted average has a negative weight. So the reason for that is now we have, see, a negative number here. This needs to be a positive when we do the calculation, even though when we check for the share count, we want to check for the negative. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get back to this, and to convert those negative numbers to a positive number, I need to only do that for this weights, which is the second part. This gives us the weights. like this filter function. So that starts after this comma right here up to this parentheses over here. So this middle part, now it jumps to this line, which is great. So I want those to become positive numbers. So I can do that by going in front of this filter function and adding a negative sign in front of it. And that should give me sales price. And when there's none, I'm going to get an NA, which we could handle by simply just adding if error function around this whole thing. And that means if there's an error, it's just going to leave it blank. And there it is. So that's our weighted average and how we can do conditional weighted average. If you were doing a regular average and you're trying to use condition as dates, so for example, if I'm trying to get the average of these prices, so let's say we only want to include anything starting from 2018. So the way you can do that, you can take this condition column, comma, and the way you do date condition, the main thing to remember, it has to still go in quotes. So you're going to do something like greater than or equal to 1/1/2018. And that should filter to anything greater than or equal to that date. And if you wanted to do a range of date, let's say you want to do starting from 2018 up to 2019, 2020 not included, then what you could do a comma and highlight the same range of dates again, and then do comma, and as a condition, you can do it's less than 1/1/2020. And that's the way you can do a range. So you're saying only consider dates within this range, and then average, in this case, prices. This would not be weighted average, just regular average. Okay, so the final thing here is when you have averages, the overall average will not be the average of averages. Now, I'm going to keep this average here. Just remember, it's not the same as getting the average or the weighted average for those things. So the way you would get the overall weighted average, you would just do your weighted average, and then you would just go directly to the source. So this time I'm just doing the price paid. I don't want to filter to a particular ticker. I just want to filter to only share counts. So what I would do, I would still use filter function here and go and still select prices from here, comma. And as a condition, I'm not going to do the ticker. I'm just going to move on to shares. So I'll just check if shares are greater than 0, close that filter function, and then I'm going to copy that, paste it, and then instead of returning this column B, I'm going to return share count, and the rest is still going to be the same because we want the ones that are greater than 0. So then I'll close this, hit enter, and that will be my weighted average. So see how this is not the same number. So now I can take this, I'm going to replace this one with this, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the price sold. So I'm going to copy that whole formula and go back in here. And then what I'll do, I'll just change this to less than 0 and less than 0. We're still going to have that problem with negative numbers here. See, I get an error. So we need the second range to return positive numbers. I'm just going to do negative in front of that filter. And it seems like we got some sort of problem. So let's go check out what I did. So what seems to happen, it doesn't seem to handle this correctly because of this negative going on here. So what we should do, we should just wrap this in an array formula function. So I can do that by doing Command Shift Enter or Control Shift Enter. Or you can type array formula, open parentheses, right in front of this whole thing and close parentheses here. See how this works? I should probably do that for these two. So Control Shift Enter to make it an array formula. and drag it down. That should do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.